Most people say yes before they've even decided if they mean it. It slips out, automatic, a reflex built from years of not wanting to disappoint anyone. Someone asks for your time, your energy, your weekend, and yes is already halfway out of your mouth before your actual answer catches up. This isn't kindness. It's avoidance, wearing kindness as a disguise. Real kindness can say no. Avoidance can only ever say yes. Somewhere along the way, most of us learned that no is a rejection. That saying it makes us difficult, selfish, hard to work with. So we build a life out of yeses we never actually chose. A job we didn't want to take. A dinner we didn't want to attend. A version of ourselves we didn't design. Built instead from everyone else's requests. Here's what nobody tells you about boundaries. They're not walls keeping people out. They're the shape of a life that's actually yours. Without them, you don't have a life. You have a long list of other people's plans, with your name signed at the bottom. Watch what happens to someone who never says no. Their calendar fills up with everyone's priorities except their own. Their energy gets spent before they even wake up, already promised away the night before. And slowly, quietly, they start to disappear inside their own schedule. Not because anyone took their life from them, because they kept handing it over, one polite yes at a time. The people who seem to have the most control over their lives usually share one habit. They've gotten comfortable with the discomfort of disappointing someone. Not cruelly, not carelessly, just honestly. They understand something most people miss. Every yes is also a no to something else. Say yes to a project you don't believe in, and you've said no to the one you do. Say yes to a commitment out of guilt, and you've said no to the energy you needed for something that mattered more. There is no such thing as a free yes. Every one of them costs something. The question is whether you're paying attention to the price. Boundaries aren't about keeping people at a distance. They're about being honest enough to know where you end and someone else's expectations begin. Without that line, you can't actually show up fully for anyone. You're too depleted, too resentful, too quietly worn down from saying yes to things you never wanted. Resentment is usually just an unspoken no, left to rot. It doesn't disappear when you swallow it. It just changes shape. It becomes distance in a friendship, tension in a marriage, burnout in a career. All from words that were never said out loud. There's a reason so many people struggle to say no. It requires tolerating someone else's disappointment without rushing to fix it. Most people can't stand that feeling for more than a few seconds. So they cave. Not because they changed their mind, because they couldn't sit with the silence after saying it. But here's what happens if you can sit with it. The other person is usually fine. Disappointed, maybe, but fine. They adjust, they find another way. Life goes on. And you, meanwhile, keep something you almost gave away. Your time, your energy, your sense of choosing your own life instead of just reacting to everyone else's. This shows up differently depending on where you are in life. At work, it looks like the extra task nobody else wanted, quietly landing on your desk because you're the one who never pushes back. Say yes to every one of those, and you become known as reliable. Not for your best work, for your inability to decline anything. Eventually, your calendar belongs to whoever asks the loudest, not to your actual priorities. With family, it looks different. Old roles get assigned early, and they're hard to renegotiate. The one who always hosts, the one who always mediates, the one who always says yes, because saying no to family feels like a betrayal instead of a boundary. But a boundary with family isn't a betrayal. It's often the first honest thing said in years. With friendships, it looks like the invitation you accept out of guilt instead of desire. You show up tired, half-present, resentful you're there at all. The friendship doesn't get more of you by this. It gets less. A worn-down version, present in body only. A friend who actually wants your company would rather have you honest and occasionally absent than present and quietly checked out. So let's actually walk through how to do this. Not the theory, the practice. Step 1, buy yourself time before you answer. You don't owe anyone an instant yes. "Let me check and get back to you" is a complete sentence. That single pause breaks the automatic reflex and gives your actual answer a chance to catch up. Step 2, keep the no short. "No, but thank you for thinking of me. That doesn't work for me right now. I need to sit with that before I answer." None of these are cruel. All of them are complete on their own. The moment you start adding a long list of reasons, you've turned a boundary into a negotiation. And if it's a negotiation, people will naturally look for the crack in your reasoning. A short no doesn't give them one. Step 3, don't apologize for the no itself. You can be warm, you can be kind, but sorry attached to every boundary quietly tells the other person it was wrong to set it. Try replacing "sorry, I can't" with "thanks for asking, but I can't." Small shift, completely different message. Step 4, let the silence sit after you say it. This is the hardest part for most people. The urge to fill that silence with justification is enormous. Resist it. The silence isn't a mistake to fix. It's the boundary actually taking hold. Step 5, expect some pushback, and don't treat it as proof you were wrong. Some people will react badly to a no they're not used to hearing from you. That reaction is information about them, not a verdict on your decision. Step 6, watch for the re-ask. Some people won't accept the first no. They'll circle back, rephrase the same request, hoping you'll cave the second time around. You don't need a new answer. The same no still works. You're allowed to repeat yourself without a fresh explanation each time. Step 7, practice on something small first. Don't start with the biggest boundary in your life. Start with the easy one. Decline the extra task at work you don't have room for. Skip the event you're only half interested in. Each small no makes the next one easier. The same way any skill gets easier with repetition. Step 8, notice the relief that follows and let it teach you something. That feeling right after a clean no isn't guilt. It's usually relief if you actually pay attention to it. That relief is data. It's telling you the yes would have cost you more than the no ever will. Children understand this instinctively before they're taught not to. A toddler will say no without a shred of guilt. No to the food, no to the nap, no to the shoes. We call this a phase, and we spend years training it out of them. By the time they're adults, saying no feels like breaking a rule nobody actually wrote down. But that rule was never real. It was just repetition, mistaken for truth. The most respected people in any room are rarely the ones who agree to everything. They're the ones whose yes actually means something, because it isn't handed out for free. When someone who rarely says yes finally does, you notice. It carries weight. It carries intention. That's what a boundary protects. Not just your time, the meaning behind your word. Notice who reacts badly to your boundaries. Often, It's the people who benefited most from you never having any. That reaction isn't proof you did something wrong. It's proof the boundary was overdue. The right people in your life won't need you to abandon yourself to stay close to them. They'll adjust. They'll respect it. Some of them will even respect you more for it. And the people who can't adjust to a reasonable no were probably never asking you a question in the first place. They were making a demand and calling it a favor. A life with boundaries isn't a smaller life.
It's a life with an actual shape, edges, a sense of what's yours and what isn't. Without that shape, you're not living your life so much as absorbing everyone else's. So the next time you feel yes rising automatically to your lips, pause. Ask yourself if it's actually true or just familiar. Because every no you're finally willing to say makes room for a yes you actually mean.